3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
The Geek Week in Review.
Hello, and welcome back to the Geek Week in Review, episode 75 this week. With, of course, me, Jacob's Toys, and, of course, the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell. If you're not following us already, then do check out geekweekinreview.co.uk, where you can follow the podcast, you can follow our social accounts, and all of those things. It's very much appreciated. Very much appreciated. Oh, right, so this week we have got a whole bunch going on. Where do you want to start? Where should we start?
We've got so much new toy news going on. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
We had an announcement today, didn't we? Because it's the 20th officially. Did you see today's Marvel news?
I did, yeah. Should we kick it off with that one?
Yeah. I've got the images and stuff here, so let me just share that bad boy up. But yeah, we're getting obviously it's the 20th of the month. They did promise us that on the 20th of every month we were going to get a release. And they didn't disappoint. It's another nice release for X-Men to celebrate the 60th anniversary, and it's Gambit.
That's very cool. Yeah,
this is from what I've seen. It's Uncanny X-Men Volume 1, 275, isn't it? That cover is what that one's from.
Yeah, it's all their red and yellow suits. You know, it's obvious that we're going to get those at some point. They've already given us Wolverine in the retro wave. Which I think is actually in the post to me. I know some people have started to have it, like it's popping up on people's Instagram and Facebook and stuff. So you got Wolverine in that one, and then they're doing the Banshee and the Storm 2 pack. Yeah. And then we've got this Gambit, which is cool. Very cool.
At least it's on the nice new body, so you can't really complain about it being reused and stuff. It is on that new body with the yellow bands that won't fall down, because that annoys me about my current X-Men. All the little yellow bands fall down.
Oh no!
Like rogues are atrocious; they always fall down.
Yeah,
it'd be nice to have those ones that are actually stuck on.
Yeah, it's awful. Hello, Stephen. How you doing? Good to see you. Anyone else that's watching, do jump in the chat. It's always good to hear from you and discuss what's going on. But yeah, no, I'm excited for this. I am excited for this. I'm kind of glad that they didn't give it to us as like a great big kind of Alpha Flight box set that we had. We were paying through the nose for. And they've got an opportunity to kind of expand it in different ways. It hasn't all got to be at once. I think that they probably will drip feed this a little while. They'll kind of milk this one out a little while. Just because it's, I don't know, lame as the costumes kind of look in action figure form, they're like an iconic look for X-Men, and any X-Men collector is going to want this lineup of the team. I know I definitely do. But I think he looks cool. I think that Gambit looks really good. I can't work out. I've not had a proper look at it, but I can't work out whether it's a different head or whether it's just a reuse of the same head that we've had before.
I do think it's the same one.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's the last one they did. The updated one they did. I think it's that one.
Okay.
With the little switchy hair thing.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, the hand effect piece, we've seen that a few times now. That's nothing new. The bow staff obviously is a bow staff. There's nothing to really write home about there. It's cool that he's got his little satchel, like his little backpack. That's a cool little addition. I'm glad that they've included that. But yeah, he's cool. I'm happy with him. I'm excited. I think that it's exciting to sort of think about so that means that we've got Storm, Banshee, Wolverine, and Gambit now. So I do wonder how they're going to do it. I must admit, when I was talking to Dan at Comic-Con, MCM Comic-Con, I said to him that it would be really good if they gave us, remember they did the quantum suits, and you got the male body and the female body and then all the different heads. And I said, why don't you do that with the X-Men uniforms? Because you could literally give us all the characters and just a handful of different heads. Yeah, there's the comic book.
Because with that Storm body, they could very easily do like you say with the female body, a quick head swap to give us Psylocke.
Yeah.
So that could be a very easy custom for a lot of people to complete the team quite easily.
Yeah.
The costume that Jubilee wears is a little bit different, isn't it? Because hers is slightly different, isn't it? If I remember rightly.
Yeah, there is.
Not
It
the
is a
same.
little bit different, and she'll be a different size. Like she'll
And
be slightly smaller as well.
And it'll also be nice if they do give us another forge, because we've only ever had the one forge as far as I'm aware, haven't we? We've just had the one,
Mhm.
the standard one. So I mean, it would be
Yeah.
nice to get an updated forge as well, with a bit of a better bionic leg and stuff like that, and a bit nicer
Yeah.
weaponry and things, because he didn't really come with much last time.
No, but that's again, it's a very well. I say simple, but apart from his kind of thigh piece, it's pretty similar to what we've seen on Gambit. So the fact that they've given us that taller male body could easily do Forge. So the rest of the team is definitely achievable.
Yeah, I personally don't see anybody buying just one of these, because I think just like maybe just Wolverine, but like if you got just one of these, they look a bit weird. You'd want the whole team, wouldn't you? You'd want the lineup with that look.
You want that setup that you see there.
Yeah, I can't see anyone. You've got to be a proper diehard Gambit fan to just go, I'm just going to buy the Gambit. I think you'd want the whole lineup, the whole team, because that's how I see it. I'm a big X-Men fan anyway. But I've kind of looked at that and just gone, well, if I get one, I need to get all. Is that you need the team. That's how I started with X-Force last time, and all the other ones they've done. You get hooked in with the one, and then you end up buying the rest.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of teams, we had the we had the X-Men box set come out as well, didn't we? With proper random characters in it, like proper random. You had Pretty Boy, you had Strife, you had Zero. Who else was in that one?
Yeah, I didn't get the picture for that one, because we already spoke about that one in previous episodes. I didn't think we'd cover that one again. But it's a really random box set. It's not one that I'm interested in, really.
No. I mean, I like these box sets. Don't get me wrong. Like the Spider-Man one they did recently, this X-Men one, I do like it because it seems like it's the figures that they can't put into waves or don't make it into a wave. They kind of just bundle together and put in a box set. It's like the Wolverine one that we had not too long ago, the X-Men one that we've got. They're kind of cool, and if you look at them as like overspill from waves and designs, they're okay. Like you don't have to buy them. It's like the Spider-Man one was proper random, like some really random characters in there. But I think it's cool that those characters are out there, so you can't really complain, can you?
It's just the fact that they put Strife in that box set, and he's like the one character that I probably would have bought.
Yeah. See, that's there's always one figure in it that's kind of the anchor, the bait, that will pull you in, and Strife is obviously the one in there. But I don't know, but I'm glad that X-Men isn't coming as a big box set.
Do you think Vertigo? A lot of people. I think some people are going to buy that Vertigo for us to do a custom Psylocke, because that is a good look, like a good face look for Psylocke with the green hair.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, she's quite an established character herself. Like it's, but it's not one that people are going to run out to buy, is it? But yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's cool. So yeah, Hasbro. Let's talk Hasbro for a minute. There's lots coming out for Hasbro. They're doing a lot of things, and I don't know if you caught the video I did recently about the share prices. Yeah,
the share price has fallen.
Yeah, I picked it up off some websites, and I think, like I said in that video, the thing that concerns me is that everyone kind of goes, "Oh yeah, they're going to learn from their mistakes, and everything's going to be on sale." But essentially, if they're not making the sales now, they're not making the figures in the future, and that kind of upsets me. Like, I don't like seeing things on sale. I do like picking up a sale, but if you look here in the UK, like seeing like the Age of Apocalypse wave at £6.50 in the Entertainer is great for people that didn't get it, but at the same token,
it's bad for business.
It's very bad for business. And I noticed as well in Smiths yesterday, I took my boys to Smiths for a bit of a pre-Christmas kind of scan, should we say? And even they've got quite a lot on. Like the which one was it? There was a couple of the Black Panther Legacy figures that were reduced down to like a tenner. And it was great for like the Dora Milaje kind of outfit. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm going to buy a few just to. I've already got about 6 of them, but I'm going to army build them while I can. But it's not great for business, and I just sort of think if that Legacy line is on sale now, then what does that mean for the potential next Legacy line that they were going to do? Like, are we going to get as many figures? Are they even going to go ahead with it? Like, so. Yeah, it's a difficult one, really.
Because
You know,
the discount line basically is what killed off 5 POA 375s, isn't it? Like for Star Wars.
yeah,
Because Last Jedi was still on the shelf when Skywalker came out. When the last film came out, the last line of toys was still on the shelf. And when when Last Jedi came out, Rogue One was still on the shelf. You could still find that blue packaging. You can
Yeah.
still find that blue packaging to this day.
Yeah.
That toy line did not sell well, and I think that's where I get worried because like those toy lines obviously didn't sell well for like it started with Force Awakens. Really, it kind of was a knock-on effect. Too many films in a short space of time meant too many products, and nobody was buying.
Yeah.
And then if that's what happened to Star Wars, then I worry about obviously Marvel Legends do produce a lot of products, and
Yep.
they are slightly oversaturating and overstretching themselves, in my opinion, right now. And I think that if they continue and more sales are to happen, then that's just going to have a knock-on effect with future releases. Are they going to take as many risks? Are we going to get as many deep-cut characters in the future, or are we just going to see constant churn-outs of new captains, new Iron Man's, new Captain America's, new Spider-Man's, new Wolverines, because they're the ones that clearly sell.
Yeah. See, my thinking is that if it was really affected, we would see a lot more MCU and a lot less comic book. Because to be perfectly honest with you, a lot of the newer kind of fans, you ask them about Iron Man, they'll talk to you about the movies. They won't talk to you about the comic book history and stuff like that. And you ask them about Spider-Man, they'll talk about Tom Holland. Like, you know, that's so. Whereas when the MCU figures kind of come out, they were kind of new. The MCU was a bit newer, and I just think that if they, I know from a business point of view, if I was kind of making the calls and it was a case of you need to produce something that's going to sell, I'd be like, well, you merchandise the movies, like that's where you put your money. You know, maybe wrong, but I think that's a shame because I do like my comic book characters. I like to have that, you know, that physical representation of the books I read as a kid and stuff.
Today, I was at Hull Comic Con, and for the first time ever, which I thought was really cool, I saw young kids. I'm saying young kids. I'm 30. I'm old now, but like some like 12 and 13-year-old like young lads were getting excited over an old comic book, which I thought was so cool. Like they were asking for like Werewolf by Night, Man Thing, because of Marvel Studios. They were asking this guy next to me, do you have any Man-Thing comics? Because I really want to know more about this character. And I thought that's the coolest thing ever. These kids have actually come to a convention to hunt those comics down. Don't expensive to buy.
Don't Google the movie. Don't Google the movie. It'll ruin your expectations. Like the movie was atrocious. No, I agree though. I agree. I always, my recommendation to people when they ask about characters is always kind of check out Marvel Unlimited or go and get one of those kind of graphic novels that kind of sandwiches a handful of stories together and just, you know, but only because my introduction was kind of broken stories and just it left me kind of wanting more from these characters and from these stories.
But it was nice to see a comic book stall selling old comic books being swarmed by youngsters and it's not something on a tablet or something on a screen in front of them. It's a proper hand comic book.
Yeah,
that's what I thought was the coolest thing ever. Like that's come to another generation now, which I love.
Yeah, there's something really cool about having that in your hand. I mean, it's yeah. I think the last time I got really hooked on a comic book, like in my kind of adult life, was the Walking Dead series, and I got a couple of the graphic novels, and because I'd seen the television show and I'd read a couple of comics here and there, I knew who the characters were, but I got really hooked on it to the extent where I ended up buying all of the graphic novels and reading it through, and I was just like, yeah. Speaking of things in hand, do you know what I picked up? Have you seen this? Have you seen this?
What's that?
The Panini 60th anniversary Spider-Man sticker album.
Nice.
Sticker album. I love these sticker albums, right? Again, this is tapping into my kind of my childhood here, like getting a sticker album and like, I love it. I absolutely love it. But they've done it as part of the like the 60th anniversary. They've got all that logo. And they did an Avengers one not too long ago, or it might be a Marvel one or Avengers one. But what's really cool?
I did the 80th anniversary one on my channel. I loved that one.
Did you? But did they do the trading cards with that?
No, it was stickers, not trading cards.
Right. No, so these, you get a packet of
Mm.
stickers, and in it you get, I think, 4 or 5 stickers and 1 trading card. And then you get this little box, little box, right? But the trading cards are
Go
stunning,
inside it.
absolutely
Mm.
stunning. Hang on, look, Stephen's even jumped in and said the cards are awesome, right? But they are really cool, and I have to show you why. So with the sticker book, you get like 1 limited edition card, so that's cool. It says limited edition, but you know they're all there. But each of the trading cards are a different cover of Spider-Man. So they're a different cover from the books, and they're just awesome. It proper taps into my childhood of collecting a sticker book.
Did you buy that? Is that something you've picked up?
I purchased this with my good hard-earned money.
You've got
Yes.
good hard-earned money. No, I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
it
obviously,
wasn't.
because no, I need to put you in contact with my Panini rep.
Yeah, you do.
I know someone
Yeah,
because
you do.
I got the Super Mario ones from Panini a little while ago. Did you see
Yeah,
those
you
ones?
do. Yeah,
Same
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of same thing. Trading card game ones. And me and my daughter have been opening them and loving them. We've been doing them on TikTok and Instagram. And yeah,
This was the Marvel. Like, I've even got these at hand. So this was the Marvel anniversary one that came out not too long ago, and the artwork on the cards was just stunning, like absolutely stunning, to the extent where behind me you can't actually see it, but on the wall there I've got what 2, 4, 6, 12, about 20 cards in a frame, just because they just look. I mean, they're absolutely like. I don't know if you can really see properly, but like just beautiful, beautiful
really
like illustrations. There's like Alex Ross stuff in there. There's modern stuff. There's old stuff. And yeah, so I was just like,
I did not have you down as a Panini person at all.
ah, mate.
Uh,
You know what? As a kid, I loved the sticker book. Like I loved the sticker book. And I'm not only kind of into my sticker books, like I'm proper anal about like them all being in exactly the right place. Like if I put it in wrong, I get really annoyed. But no, I was in Smiths. I took my kids to Smiths and I saw it and I was like, it was a fiver for the sticker book, you know, 90p or whatever for 90p or whatever for the stickers. And I was like, yeah, you know what, there's a tenner. But yeah, so I've done a quick video on opening the first ones, and
nice.
I felt like one of those channels, you know, where you just see them opening the Pokemon cards and stuff. I was like, is this me now? Is this what I've become?
Oh, I've been doing that. I've been doing the Super Mario ones. Like I said, people have been. I was surprised at how many people actually got into it. Like, have actually been watching me do it. Like,
Yeah,
a regular.
you know what?
It's awesome.
Like football's not my thing. I mean, I enjoy
Not
football
mine.
and all the rest of it. World Cup's going on. I don't hate on it, but when I used to work in game, we used to sell the Panini football stickers, and when they came out, people went mad for them, like absolutely
Yeah.
mad for them, like as well as all the staff. But I never collected the football stickers as a kid. I was always the Spider-Man and the, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, but there we go. All right, so it's been mentioned already. We were going to come to it in a bit, but let's talk about it now. Obviously, devastating news came out today. Jason David Frank passed away, sadly. Not much has been mentioned about it. It's just obviously been announced, and it's incredibly sad news. Yeah, I don't really know personally. I don't really know what to think about it myself at the minute, because I met him in 2018. He was at MCM Comic Con, and he was absolutely fantastic. Like absolutely, really, really, really nice guy to chat to. Really took time to chat to us, and it was one of them moments where like, there's so many people queuing up to see him, and obviously had the tickets to speak to him and stuff. And they were pushing us through, but he was making sure that he spoke to us and took time talking to us and stuff. So yeah, it is really, really sad news. And I think as kind of people that grew up with 90s nostalgia being such a big thing, you know, Tommy the Power Ranger was a huge part of so many people's lives. So I think a lot of people are going to be quite upset and shocked by this one. And it's kind of scary as well when people pass away that are quite close to your age.
Yeah,
That really kind of gets
it's
me.
home, doesn't it?
Yeah, that does kind of hit home a little bit. But yeah, it was very, very sad news, and obviously, thoughts and condolences and everything with friends and family.
Yeah, it's one of the things, isn't it? Just like we grew up with him in the 90s, and
Yep.
then it's cool that in recent years he's come back. Well, he's always been there, really, but he came back, and then we started getting the Boom Studios comics that were based on him as
Yep.
an older guy for doing Lord Drakon, and we got like a whole resurgence of the Mighty Morphin era like now,
Yeah.
and we've got the big reunion coming up, which makes it all the more sadder. The fact that
Yeah.
he's passed away before the reunion could happen.
Yeah,
I know
that
they probably
is
filmed
sad.
it or whatever. If he was going to be in it, he probably already filmed it. But it's the fact that he won't be able to be around to do the press things, and
Speaking of filming though, because he was doing that independent, that Legend of the White Dragon, White Dragon, White Dragon, wasn't it? And they've announced that it's due to come out next year, but if he hasn't completed his filming schedule, then there's a chance that it might never come out. And if you follow him on Instagram, like, his posts are always about two things, and it's pretty much the fans or that film, and Power Rangers, obviously. But yeah, it is incredibly bad news. But then at the same token, we didn't speak about it last week because we had Steve Evans on, but we also lost Batman, the voice of Batman, Kevin Conroy. But it's really sad when you hear about people that made a big difference or had a big impact in your childhood.
Kevin Conroy, I can't imagine anyone else being the voice of Batman in my, like, when you play an Arkham game, it's his voice.
Yeah.
Like when you watch the animated movies, it's his voice. I can't picture anyone else doing that voice now.
There's literally two voices that come to mind, and that's Lego Batman and him. But Lego Batman is Lego Batman. Like that, he's not other Batman. He is Lego Batman and him. But yeah, it is incredibly sad. But let's stick with the positives. Let's kind of, where were we? Sticker books, obviously, very cool. Very much a sticker book. And yeah, where are we at with it? It started with a click. I'm the same with the Lego stickers, trying to get them on tiny pieces perfectly. Yes. You know what does really annoy me with sticker books, actually, in like modern sticker books? And it's like the pictures where it's like a rounded edge sticker. And I kind of put it on and I think that I've got it all lined up. And then when I lay it flat and I realize that the line's slightly off, it really does my head in. Really does my head in. But yeah, so that's Hasbro, that's Panini. Let's have a talk. Oh, you want to stay on Hasbro? Let's stay on Hasbro.
I'm about to say we got one more for Hasbro. Yeah, we got one more. That was the Star Wars 40th anniversary line. We got a couple more of the shiny carbonized figures coming out, which, to be fair, suit the Royal Guard. So I'm not mad about that. The Royal Guard does look good, all shiny and chromy. Not too fond of the TIE Fighter, but the annoying thing is these come as a 2-pack, so you've got to buy them together. Then they're an Amazon exclusive. So good luck. But yeah, it's one of the things. I'm probably not going to pick them up, to be honest. I'm not really bothered for the 40th anniversary line outside of Wicket, but I know a lot of people go mad for this line. So
yeah, I must admit I've kind of fallen off a little bit with my Star Wars collecting. I cleared out a lot of my collection. Yeah, I don't know. I
think a lot of people are currently suffering from Star Wars fatigue. At the moment, even I'm feeling it. I'm a big Star Wars guy, and I'm feeling it at the minute. Obviously, I go back to Florida in January, so obviously when I come back from there, I'll be thriving about it again. But right now, I'm like, oh, really? Yeah, another series.
I really do love my Star Wars, but I think when it came to the figures, the difference with like Marvel, for example, is that it seemed like you were getting a lot of stuff that was current, and then a little bit of nostalgia as well. Whereas Star Wars, it just felt like there was more and more stuff being pushed out of things that I'd already had or things that I'd already seen. And I was like, I kind of want the new content. And even with shows like Andor, and I've been watching Andor now. I'm really disappointed Ryan's not here because I am fully up to date and I love it. I absolutely love it. But for the same reason that I said, I needed to watch it in a bulk and kind of get the momentum going. But there's not loads of characters in there that I'm like, oh, I want a figure of him. I want a figure of her. That alien looks really cool, or anything like that. I'm just really enjoying it as a show. Whereas with Marvel, it's kind of like an MCU show comes out, and I'm like, yeah, I want that costume, I want that character, like. But that's me, isn't it?
I think with Star Wars, a lot of the bulk people that buy the action figures are original trilogy people. So I think Star Wars is always stung with that. Yes, we want to give you something new, but there's always new people coming on board all the time, and they always want Han, Leia, Chewie, Luke, Darth.
Yeah.
They want the core figures, so they get re-released time and time and time again.
Yeah.
And I think that's what there's on as well. You got to think Star Wars only has so many characters. Marvel has thousands, literally thousands. Star Wars has maybe 200 at best.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a big difference in ranking, like the arc of characters. There's not many that they can. Before long, they are going to keep churning out the same Lukes because what else is there to do?
Yeah.
Jedi costume, farm boy costume, Jedi costume.
I'm just surprised they didn't tap more into like the comics and the books and stuff. You know what I mean?
They're
There's so
starting
many
to. They are really starting to now because obviously we got Jackson, the rabbit, which was a really random one. But then they're giving us a lot of, yeah, like they're really going hard on the gaming greats right now.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I think that's that is the way to continue. And then that publishing line seems to be going from strength to strength as well. So if they keep up with the publishing line and the gaming greats line, if they can get the price sorted out for the new year, because I think 30 is a bit steep for them. But yeah, if they can get the pricing a little bit nicer, I think more people are buying.
Yeah, that's probably
saying
not
that, I'm saying that, and I'm saying it's steep. But I already have like Mara Jade on pre-order. I had to because I know that thing's going to sell out instantly, so I had to get Mara Jade. I had to get all of them, all four. I got them all.
No. Anything else Hasbro wise? Any other Hasbro news?
That was it, Hasbro.
Not a lot. I've seen a lot of people getting things quite quickly. Like the Daredevil 3-pack that was set for like I think March next year has already started landing on people's doorsteps. I think mine's coming this week. You've got what was the other one as well? Oh, the Spider-Man 3-pack as well. Rumor is that that's going to come a lot earlier. You know, the No Way Home.
Oh, right.
Yeah, there's a rumor there that's coming a lot sooner. The Ghost Rider figure, the card retro card.
Mine's coming next week. It's already coming.
Yeah, see what I mean? So there's lots that was set for a lot later. That's actually on its way. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Hasbro. It does frustrate me when they sort of say that something's coming out on a certain time and it's then coming out months earlier. It's a bit frustrating as a collector, but
you can't budget anymore like you used to be able to. Like once upon a time, like everyone used to always say to me, "How do you afford all the figures you buy?" Because like I buy quite a lot, and I used to always say, "Budget, just budget." I used to keep a spreadsheet, so I knew what figures were coming in what months, how much money I needed to save each month to get those figures.
Yeah.
And nowadays you can't do that because things are just so random. They'll say that they're coming out in next June, and it'll arrive 2 weeks later. So it's like,
Yeah, I noticed on groups and stuff as well, like group chats where people are saying that they've got 2 waves on pre-order that were due in 3 months and 5 months that are both now waiting to be paid, like invoices waiting to be paid and stuff. And I'm just kind of like that's harsh because that's a few £100 for some collectors, so it's I don't know. I think that potentially you're losing the wave buyers, the collectors that would buy full waves. They're just waiting for things to drop now. So
waves are dead now. Without being funny, waves are dead now.
It does seem like a dead way of collecting.
Yeah, like once upon a time, you like even if you didn't want certain figures in the wave, you'd buy the wave because it worked out cheaper per figure to get the bath, and you'd always get the wave. Nowadays, it doesn't feel much cheaper these days. It feels like it's the same as buying them all at retail, and 9 times out of 10, they don't come out in a wave very often. Like the last one, like obviously we got the What If ones came out together, but they keep doing this thing where they keep putting so many up for pre-order at different times, and then they're suddenly part of a wave. And
so I tell you what, while we're on waves and purchasing, let's talk about some of the retailers, because that's I did a video about a year ago, I think, talking about like trusted retailers in the UK, but I think it's a good talking point because one of the questions I get asked most on social media is, where do you get your figures from? And naturally we get gifted stuff. There's stuff that we get sent over, so you can't just turn around and go, "I get sent that." But there are a handful
Saying
of
that
trusted.
though, you must say saying that though is only about 10% of what we put out. Most of the stuff we do put out, 95% of the stuff we put out is easily our hard-earned cash.
Oh yeah, that's the thing, and I think the illusion that creators that do videos and stuff are just sent everything. Like I must admit, it does make me laugh on places like TikTok and stuff when like I'll do a video of like a wave that's arrived, and they kind of go, "Oh, like it's just being sent to you," and I'm like, but let's talk about retailers. So the first one, there's kind of three main independent retailers, I would say, in the UK that kind of jump up on the groups all the time, and that's Comics and Cocktails, In Demand Toys, and Toys R Us.
Ooh, okay.
Who would you put as the other one?
I would put Kapow above Toys R Us.
Oh, Kapow, yeah.
This is no offense. I also say this is no offense to any retailer. I use all of you equally, but there's just certain ones that certain people use.
Yeah. No, I've got no. Yeah, I've got no kind of allegiance or anything to any of them, and I've used them all over time.
Do you know how I do it? How I work it? In-demand toys tend to get your NECA stuff early, and they seem to get the Marvel Legends pretty quick.
Yeah.
I always find that the Kapow toys are good for your GI Joes. Then I find that props and replicas get the DC stuff in pretty quick. They always seem to have the multiverse in stock. So there's different retailers seem to assert different things. Obviously, we've got Star action figures. They're pretty good with all your Star Wars and your Marvel stuff as well. Yeah. There's so many to choose from. Toys R Us. Toys R Us. I see Toys R Us more for like SH Figure Arts, Hot Toys, like the higher end stuff. I would go to them for personally. That's where if I was looking for a higher end toy, I'd go to them.
The reason I list those three is because those three to me have something different than each other. So Comics and Cocktails, I think the big selling point for them is that they do the free postage. So you'll order something and you'll get it free postage, but you can also, like most of them, you'll do you'll get free postage and what was the other thing I was going to say? I'd like deposit on pre-orders, whatever. Toys R Us, as Keith Pride's just said there in the chat, they split packs, and that's something that I don't see elsewhere. Like, I've never purchased a split pack from a retailer, but I know that a lot of people like the fact that Toys R Us do it. So you'll get like the Strife one that we're talking about, they will get a handful of those in and they will split them and they will sell them individually. So you can buy Strife. It will be at a slightly higher price than just a standalone Legend. And obviously it won't come its own individual box, but you'll be able to purchase just that. And they do it for Build-A-Figures as well, which I think is really great. They'll sell Build-A-Figure pieces. They'll sell Build-A-Figures on their own. And I think that's a really unique selling point as a retailer. And I don't know any other retailers that do that. If there are any, then please let us know because we'll give them credit the same. And In Demand Toys does the point system. So they do like the in-demand point thing. And again, it's never been something that I've, it's not kind of made a difference to me, but it's great. It's like anywhere, isn't it? If you build points up and you get a couple of quid off of something after so many months or whatever, then that's great. But we are quite sport for choice, and I think nowadays compared to like maybe 10 years ago where it was a lot harder for things to come over to the UK and it was things like eBay and stuff that you had to rely on, we are sport for choice and there are a lot of good ones out there. Obviously, on top of the independent retailers as well, you've got the likes of Hasbro Pulse over here in the UK. Sonna Toys, somebody's pointed out Sonna Toys there as well.
Sonna Toys are good for sales, aren't they? They tend to have like big sales at certain points of the year. You can pick up some stuff dirt cheap from them.
Yeah.
Another one that I have to give a sorry.
No, go for it. No, go for it.
Before we move away from independence, one that I want to say that I know you don't use that I use because obviously I collect horror and monster stuff. Madabout.horror.co.uk. They're a good independent retailer that specializes in like your monster stuff. They get all the like Universal monsters in, they get all the horror stuff, but they also get like if there's like a Man-Thing figure from Marvel, they'd get that in. They specialize in monster products, which is an awesome retailer to use if you're a big horror fan.
That's cool. That is cool. Someone keep right again. No, I'm just putting up their comments at the moment, but there's many of these do Black Friday deals. They do, and they all do a lot of sales throughout the year. And what I would say is, if there's an independent retailer that you favour or that you're interested in, they all have their own Instagram, they all have their own Twitters and things like that. Follow them on social media. And Facebook pages, because they will post about their sales ahead of when the sales launch. I've got to give kind of focus on comics and cocktails here, for example. They were doing I can't remember what they worded it as, but it was like a week-long kind of sale for a different line every week, and they would post about it on their social media just before it went live, and then those figures would be on sale for a week, and then the following week it would then be a different line, but it was all kind of done through social media that you knew what was coming up. So it's well worth following these independent retailers on social media. And while we're on independent retailers as well, I would definitely recommend supporting local independent retailers, because at the end of the day, they're kind of what kept the collection alive for a lot of us before we did have the bigger ones in place. Speaking of bigger ones, Hasbro Pulse is obviously here in the UK, and it has been since, what was it, 2020? I want to say 2020. So a couple of years now, and they are great, but their prices are a little bit more higher, should we say? Is that the PC way of putting it? Their prices do tend to be a bit higher. The one thing that I would say, we'll get onto Forbidden Planet in a minute, because I class them as this bracket. But the one thing I would say about Hasbro is that a lot of people are complaining about QC issues and with the windowless boxes, things missing and stuff like that. If you order it direct from Hasbro and there is an issue, it's a lot easier to deal with. If there is let's take, for example, hypothetically speaking, you buy a Venom and Null 2-pack and Venom only has one wing. That happened to me. But if it came directly from Hasbro, straight away it can get sorted. If it came from somebody else, they want you to go to that person, and the independent retailers won't know that these issues are happening because they're windowless boxes. So they get their crates in, they've got 10 of these packs of figures in, and they'll send them out to the people that they need to send them out to. They don't know about any issues in the box. So unless they're opening them and checking them all for you, which isn't, it's not a productive way of working anyway, they're not going to know about the issues. But if there is an issue, Hasbro will want you to go via them, and then that obviously causes them issues as an independent retailer. So there is a benefit of going with Hasbro Pulse, because you're buying direct from the source, and if there are any issues. But if you look at the grand scheme of things, the amount of QC issues are few and far between compared to the amount of figures going out. So you're paying a little bit extra to buy from the source if you want that kind of added security, if you like. Forbidden Planet, again, I would class as kind of a bigger retailer. I don't have any issues with Forbidden Planet. I just don't really shop there. I haven't got one local to me. If I ever pop into London now, I'll pop into Forbidden Planet and have a look. Not really got any issues with Forbidden Planet. I just don't see it as a place to shop anymore. I used to, before a lot of the independent retailers popped up. It was kind of one of the only go-tos for kind of geeks and people like us. But
I used to do a lot of my comic book pre-orders, like my weekly comics. I used to obviously order in advance through forbiddenplanet.com. But when Wakefield Comics popped up in my local area, I felt like I wanted to support a local independent comic store that I wanted to see remaining business. And obviously, I see like say I do see Forbidden Planet as a larger company and a bit more of a multi-million conglomerate kind of thing. So I do want to support the local rather than them, in all honesty. But again, that I do love it, because like Forbidden Planet is opening in Hull near me in a few weeks, like an hour away. I can get there pretty easily. And there's one when my brother was at university, there used to be one in Middlesbrough. Forbidden Planet International, that was, though. It was because two different companies in there, Forbidden Planet International.
Yeah, they went.
I used to love going to the international store in Middlesbrough as well. That was
Yeah.
always a great store.
I find Forbidden Planet I enjoy for the sales nowadays.
Yeah.
If I'm in a town or a city where there is a Forbidden Planet, I'll go in and I'll look at their sale section. Yeah, you can't get action figures there.
Kitty Pride. I have to live in this local area. Do you know how many times I hear that a day? Wakey wines. Oh, that stupid TikTok. Jesus.
It's better, man. Catchphrase done him
I
some
know.
good.
He's done him good, hasn't it? He's done him good.
But yeah, Forbidden Planet, I'll always go in and have a look at their sales because I don't feel as bad buying sale items from a big company like that. The other one as well that we've got nowadays is Amazon, but Amazon it's a weird one. Let's be honest. Like there's some Amazon exclusive content. So there's things that Hasbro give direct to Amazon. But it's strange that I don't get their pricing. I really don't understand their pricing. Like you'll see some stuff where it's kind of like they've got the Age of Apocalypse wave at the moment for like £6.50 a figure, which is the same as the Entertainer, £6.50 a figure. But then you'll have a look at one of the retro 3 3/4 inch figures, and it'll be like 25 quid. Like what? Like how have you worked that out?
They seem to work on the old school supply and demand business. As the availability and the amount they have in stock drops, the higher the price seems to go. The more they have in stock, the cheaper the price.
Yeah. And then of course there is the Love 'em or Hate 'em Zavvi UK, which is part of the Hut Group. So it kind of ties in with HMV because HMV is a big seller of action figures at the moment, be it Hasbro or Pop or
They've started getting NECA now as well. They've got a NECA sections there.
NECA. And HMV has gone very much down the kind of collector's route now, hasn't it? It's much more kind of
these days.
People like us rather than people that collect music, which is a really odd turn of events. I never saw that as a geek shop, but it is nowadays. But yeah, Zavvi UK. Now there's a lot of hate for Zavvi, and I don't understand myself. I've never experienced any issues with
I've
them.
never experienced it either.
I've really not. Before we go on to Zavvi in depth, Kitty Pride said about Game, but Game, for those of you that don't know, was bought out by the company that owns Sports Soccer, Sports Direct, Sports Soccer. Showing you my age there. Sports Direct, and so Game is now part of them. But they did do a huge kind of blowout sale, and people were picking up things for ridiculous prices. Like Ryan got the Captain America shield for like 30 quid. Like it was ridiculous.
They're doing it again right now. They've got all the Captain Britain 3-packs. They're in stock for like 30 quid each. They've had some good stuff in recently. A lot of the Fortnite stuff's heavily discounted right now because that just hasn't sold very well. So they had Man Cake, is he called, the cowboy with the big cannon.
Yeah.
He was originally £40 when he came out. He's now down to 20.
Wow.
There's so many good ones. I go in Game all the time. It's one of my local stores, and I'm always looking at the sales. There's all sorts in there right now. They even have like Barbie dolls in there now, which is weird. They have like a proper toy section.
See, the ones local to me all closed up. They all closed up, so we haven't got them anymore. But that's where I used to work. I used to work for Game like years and years ago, like 11 years ago, something like that. I was one of the deputy managers there, and we didn't have as many action figures. If we did, I'd still be working now, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, they didn't really have that. But going back to Zavvi. So yeah, people do tend to have a real issue with them, and I don't get it. Like, we both. Okay, so I'm just reading comments there. Yeah, see, this is the thing. People tell me about these things where they ordered stuff and it didn't come. But me and Sorrell are both kind of affiliated with Zavvi. We do stuff for Zavvi, like reviews and stuff. And yeah, as a consumer, I never really had any real issues with them. And as an affiliate, I've never had any issues with them. But the same as all of the retailers, I would say shop where you feel confident. Like if you don't have confidence in Zavvi, don't shop with them. Like that's, it's not because you want to be confident. What I would say is that they do tend to have a lot of stuff. They do tend to have a lot of brands, and in stock as well. I think when it comes to pre-ordering, it's not even just Zavi, but just in general, when it comes to pre-ordering, you kind of need to pre-order somewhere where you are comfortable with their reputation in regards to you've either pre-ordered with them before, or you've recommended by someone else. And I think that's where a lot of people have issues with certain retailers. I've seen things being said about all the independent retailers that we've mentioned about pre-orders, about Zavi, about Hasbro. Everyone says it. So, but Zavi is also an option. And when I look at Zavi, I look at them as the Hut Group, because that's HMV, that's Zavi UK, that's Very Nico. That's Pop in a Box. They have a lot of. They have a lot of, and you'll probably be surprised about how many different sort of brands there are underneath that umbrella. And that's what makes me laugh, is I have seen people kind of go at Zavi on one thread, but then really blow up about another one. And I'm like, they're the same company. Like they're the same people. But yeah, I personally, I've never experienced it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I've never experienced it. And my experience with them has always been relatively positive.
People sometimes ask me, if you don't mind me taking it for a minute, Jacob. So people always ask me about because obviously I love my Disney products, like my Disney park stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll go. Obviously, I do go to the parks pretty regular. But when I get back here in the UK, people ask me where I get stuff from, and there is a website here in the UK called doubleboxtoys.com.
Okay.
And they specialize in obtaining stuff from the Disney parks here in the UK. They sell all the Galaxy's Edge merchandise. When it's Halloween, they'll sell the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party merchandise. They get all the Builder droids in that I collect as well. So if the Disney store don't get them, Double Box Toys will. And because they have to import them and stuff, sometimes it will be a little bit more expensive. But if you do collect a certain line, like the droids, like they're so hard to get, sometimes you do end up paying about 20 quid for a droid when it would be 12 on Disney Store. But if you want it, the option's there, is what I'm saying. And I use them. I think they're pretty good.
That's cool. So speaking about brands, we've got to talk about Diamond Select. We've got to talk about Diamond Select, because we are massive fans of Diamond Select. Diamond Select are a great brand, in my opinion. And we both do a little bit of work with them, and so we're not saying they're great just because we do a little bit of work with them. But I just love the variety.
I've been reviewing the Select products on my channel for years, and I've done everything. They seem to do everything pop culture. So when like Alucard came out, the anime TV series, the figures came out within a few months of that series coming out, and they've got some great new stuff up right now. Have you seen some of the new stuff from this week?
Yeah.
So the new X-Men Iceman.
Oh,
they've been slowly building up. Yeah, they've been slowly building up their X-Men line over the years. We're finally getting a really cool looking Iceman. I believe he's coming with like a big ice skate thing as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got like a slide. I think he was revealed via one of the content creators. I can't remember which one it was, but somebody had the reveal with him. And what surprises me, and no shade towards Hasbro here, but Hasbro have put out quite a few Iceman figures, but none of them have had this kind of look. Like none of them have had this kind of translucent ice look. Like this looks like he's straight out of the comic books. But the difficulty with Selects is, if you are a Legends collector, they are slightly different in scale. So the Marvel Selects come out at about 6.5 to 7 inches, whereas your Marvel Legends are 6 inches. So I've got quite a few. I'm just trying to look up on my shelf now. I've got even just looking here, I've got the new Baron Zemo from Marvel Legends on the shelf, because he's not gone into a cabinet yet, next to the Taskmaster from Diamond Select, and Taskmaster is literally looking over his head. Like it's so it is a big difference. But where I think the Diamond Select really, if you're a Marvel Legends collector, the place where Diamond Select really works is if you're going for those oversized characters, so like your Hulks, your Juggernauts, your like your Thing, like those kind of things. If you get those characters, like I recently got the Planet Hulk figure, and he's awesome, and he's huge, and he's detailed, and the sculpt on him is fantastic. So Marvel wise, it's difficult to kind of blend the two because of the difference in size. But
One,
go on.
sorry, I'm gonna say I've just put a picture. One of the reasons I love this new Iceman is because it's straight up is like a copy. It's like a replica of this one from my childhood. I had this figure back in the 90s. It's an old Toy Biz one, and that new Iceman for me feels like a more collectible version of a toy I had in my hands as a child.
Yeah,
that's why I'm so excited to get it back. That new Iceman looks amazing.
No, brilliant.
So,
It's spot on. But like you said, I like the fact that they do so much, like the variety of things that they do. So like the Cobra Kai figures that I know we both have, they're brilliant. Like, I love them. They've not got the photoreal technology that Hasbro has.
You mean
Jean-Claude
like
Van
this
Damme.
guy? We're getting we're getting
Yeah.
Bloodsport. We're getting Bloodsport action figures.
You know what? If you were told like a 15-year-old me that I would be able to get my hands on a Bloodsport action figure as articulated and detailed as this one, I wouldn't have believed you. I would not have believed you. But it's little things like that that I really do like. Is that, you know, you can have Jean-Claude Van Damme from Bloodsport facing off against Daniel LaRusso from Karate Kid, aka Cobra Kai, facing off against, like, you know, someone else completely different, like against Iron Man or the Hulk. Like, it's just brilliant. Like, and it's not just kind of action figures. So they do all the Muppet stuff, don't they? They do all the Muppet selects. I know that you're a big collector of those. They do all the things like the Nightmare Before Christmas line. Like, they did all those. They revisited those as well not too long ago.
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts. Yep, they do that as well.
Look at this.
Excuse me.
Where is it?
I'm just trying to think.
I had to dig this one out of the archives this week because I've had this on my shelf and I was contemplating selling it for a while. And then obviously with the resurgence of getting a lot of select figures, it kind of relit the fire a little bit.
Yep. Hercules. Wow.
And they've never. The reason I'm going to keep it now, obviously, because obviously we're kind of getting some stuff from Select in a minute, but they've no one's ever made a properly fully articulated Hercules action figure ever. This is the only one. And like the Maleficent one they made, sadly wasn't very decent. The Maleficent one was a statue more than a figure, but this has got like he's got full articulation on it. He's like he's got double jointed knees, hips, the elbows double jointed. Top bicep cut. He's got a full-on like Marvel Legends style articulation. So I can't wait to get him out and do some posing with him.
You know what, the thing I really love about Diamond Select as well is those boxes. Like, it's something really nostalgic about those boxes. Like, I remember going into comic book stores when I was much younger and looking at the action figures, and it was just walls of selects, Diamond Selects everywhere you could see. You'd have your Toy Biz figures and stuff dotted around, but Marvel Selects or Diamond Selects, whichever one it was at the time, just dominated the walls. And because they're so big, I don't know, they felt like they were worth the money. And I love the diorama pieces that you got with them and stuff. Like, they're just, actually, I'll tell you what, I've got one here. I can't even get it out. No, it's buried. But it's the little diorama pieces. And I know that they don't do it with all of their figures, but that's a real bonus. That's the real kind of added thing, like to actually get a piece like they did with the X-Men ones. They did all the Danger Room walls, you know, with some of the older Marvel selects. They did like really big, like there was one that was like a Sentinel head. There was one that was like a rock base, and I still use some of those older diorama parts in like my action figure photography and stuff as like background pieces and stuff like that, just because they were really cool. The articulation isn't as good as some of the other brands out there. I always look at my Diamond Selects more as a
posable statue.
Yeah, like a statue that I can adjust. That's kind of how I look at it. So I'll kind of put them somewhere and I'll get them in a pose that I like, and then if I'm going off it a little bit, I'll go back and I'll kind of rejig it a little bit. But yeah, more of a statue that you can kind of adjust.
But one thing I do like obviously, like I say, all the Diamonds and Select figures are in scale with one another. So like obviously I've got like on my shelf right now behind me, somewhere it's on this shelf somewhere along this line. I've got I've got the Crow, I've got Jack Sparrow, I've got loads of random movie characters just all stood in a line, and they're all like in scale with one another. So like you can do some great photography, like the The Jack Sparrow one came with that lovely piece, for it's like the top part of the ship with the wheel.
Yeah.
So you've got like entire top part of the ship came with it as a diorama piece. So
Yeah.
you can like stand in behind it and stuff. It looks awesome.
I'm gonna have to get. Just wait a sec. Just wait there.
Jacob's gonna come back in a moment with a full on like what do you call it? X-Men Danger Room. That's it. Come on, Jacob. What you got? There's normally Ryan here to keep me talking at this point, but I'm on my own, so I'm just going to keep talking and waffling away until he comes back. Jacob, where have you gone? Jacob. Here he is. Oh, have you got Mephisto now? Are you showing off?
No, it's not. It's not Mephisto.
I just saw something big and red coming down. That sounds weird.
I just want to show, like, just for a second. So this is easily one of my figures of the year. This Carnage, the Diamond Select
he's a beast.
Carnage, is absolutely stunning. Like, he's articulated enough. Like, he's just fantastic, and he comes with all of these extra headpieces and everything. But in my kind of top figures of the year, I'm really struggling to find one that would knock him off of the top spot. So there's a little bit of a sneak peek into my top figures of 2022. But this figure, if you have an opportunity to pick him up, grab him. And they did a Venom one not too long ago as well. I think it was about a year ago, that had a back piece like this, because this comes off. So you've got your figure, and then this piece goes on, but then this is all articulated as well. So there's all like articulation in these tendrils and stuff. It's just stunning, absolutely stunning. But just to show you scale wise, for anyone that's kind of, this is the Planet Hulk one that I was talking about. So he's big, he's detailed and everything like that. This is the Marvel Legends Rhino. Like, and when you look at the size difference, like, there's no comparison. It's just huge. Like, they are big, heavy figures, and the detail on them is just, where is it? Where's my camera? It's just stunning.
It's insane. Stunning. Yeah, I love that figure.
It's a beautiful figure. It's one that I didn't know that I wanted as much as I did until I got it in hand. And the articulation on him is a little bit, like, lacks a little bit of kind of movement, but it's just the detail. Like, one of the biggest complaints people have about action figures is like the back. So you have the front, and then on the back there's not as much detail. But look at the work. The back is as good as the front.
I like the muscle sculpting on that one, like that on his back. Just look at the muscle on his back; it's just insane. All the different textures, and
it's just fantastic. Amazing. It really is. It really is.
I can't get my favorite one because it's in the cabinet in the living room, and my missus has claimed it. But the Muppets, when they did the old men, when they did the old men, the grumpy old men, and they gave them the box to put him in. Yeah. That used to sit on my shelf, and I'm getting it back for the new year. It's going up with all the rest of the Muppets. But my missus claimed it, because even she looked at that and went, "That's really cool," and stole it. she changes out the figures every now and again. Like, I'll go in and there'll be a different figure sat on the chairs. But yeah, it is a beautiful set. And like, they re-released the old men, but just without the box. But I'm like, no, it needed the box. The box is perfect with it. They needed the little seat.
Yeah, but that's what I like so much about them.
Yeah, I would say I've been tempted to bring them back, for the new year for my reviews. And every time I make a mistake in my reviews, I'm just going to do skits with them going, "Oh, he said something wrong again. He always says things wrong." Oh.
It's but that's something that Diamond Select have really hit a nail on the head. I think is that those diorama pieces, those extra pieces, like that Carnage, for example, came with so many accessories. There was about 3 or 4 different heads. Actually, I think they're up here. Let me have a look in my little box of things. So obviously I just showed you the figure, but yeah, look, there we go. Here we go. So as well as the head that's on it, you got another head, like this kind of like weird little head here. Yeah. You got this one with this horrible like long neck piece that made him look like some kind of dinosaur, but just worked ever so well. And then you got this horrific like Cletus Cassidy head, where like Carnage is coming up from the bottom instead of from the top. Like, it's the thing of nightmares. It's nightmare still. But
The Carnage, that other head you've
As
got
well
with the
as
Carnage,
all-
that long Carnage head.
Yeah.
If you, I'm saying, if you give that to a 3D sculptor and let them scan it in, you could get one in black and have it on Eddie Brock's shoulder, and then you've got a movie like the Venom movie.
Mate.
We will eat Mrs. Chang.
Mate, why did I not think of that?
That, how cool would that be if you had especially if you make a civilian Eddie Brock and then just have that on his shoulder.
You know what? I've been looking for something to cast because I do a bit of casting anyway, and I was like, I need to do a casting kind of tutorial.
Mm.
I'm going to cast this. I'm
Imagine
even going to make the back piece.
Black Spider-Man. If you get the black symbiote suit Spider-Man, have that coming off of it like it's looking at him, like it's on his shoulder, coming round and looking at his face, like, "Come on, Peter, like, give in to yourself."
It's such a gnarly looking.
It
Like,
is so
head
cool.
sculpt. It is really cool. But yeah, they just do so much with the accessories. But even like the Cobra Kai figures, like I've got like a proper bag of like weapons
Oh,
and hands and bonsai trees and all
I'm
sorts of stuff.
loving that line. I hope they continue it and we get Hawk, Miguel. I want so many other characters now from it.
See, I would go differently. I would like them to do Chosen, and I'd like them to do Silver. I'd like them to do all the OG kind of characters, and then give us the
kids
newer ones.
the next generation.
Yeah.
Chosen would be cool, and so would Silver.
Chosen would be a cool one. But yeah, I'm a massive advocate for Diamond Select. I think they're really cool. I think they're a really, really good brand, and I just think they kind of get overlooked a little bit now because Hasbro's Marvel Legends are so predominant on the market. People kind of sometimes forget to look at Diamond Select, but they don't just do figures. They also do sculptures. They do busts. They do like mini mates. All those mini mates were like by Diamond Select, and people went mad for them for a while. But you do tend to find a handful of the Diamond Selects turning up in discount shops like B&M and stuff. Like they had all the Ghostbuster ones, didn't they, at one point?
Yeah, they've got the Easter Bunny in there right now from Nightmare Before Christmas. It seems to all the lines seem to be just the Easter Bunny. Yeah, in my local ones anyway. But I know for a while they had like the witches and the vampires because they were like the latest sort of waves, weren't there, of the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff. But they do show up from time to time. But speaking of the busts, they did announce this one, and you know what? Even I consider that one. I'm not a bust collector, but you know how much I love my BK. Black Krista, that just looks amazing.
Yeah. Is that him from Mando?
That's the Mando version, yeah.
Or Boba Fett, sorry. Yeah, it's. But I would not, if I was a bust collector, I would not hesitate buying from Diamond Select because, like I said, the attention to detail and the sculpting on their action figures is phenomenal. So their busts are going to be next level. I mean, I'm going to have to get a bust at some point. I just don't know who.
Well, I think I may have found the one that I think we're all going to want, to be honest now, because they announced this week, which is a bit of obviously.
He's gone. Sorrell has gone to. Just me. It's a Jake show, right? Sorrell has gone to put a picture on the screen and kicked himself out. Just bear with, and he'll be back. But and then it was just me. Someone put a comment. Someone give me something to talk about because it's just me on my own in my stream. So he is going to be kicking himself. Oh yeah. Oh dear. He'll be back. He'll be back in a minute. He'll be back. There he is.
Out instead of share screen.
I was like, someone put a comment because I'm on my own now, and I couldn't stop laughing.
What I was saying, they did announce this one this week, which I think now, obviously, with the passing of Jason David Frank, that could be that could be the one now, couldn't it? That I think a lot of people are going to want.
It's ironic that they posted that one this week. But you should check out on their social media. So it's CollectDS at CollectDS. So that's on TikTok, it's on Instagram, Facebook, and all the rest of it. And they always post their like upcoming things. I try to get as many out as possible, even the things that I'm not collecting. But they put it out all on their social media, and there's some really good stuff out there. Some really, really good stuff out there that I think a lot of collectors wouldn't necessarily think about. If that makes sense. Like I don't know. For me personally, like that Carnage, I quite easily could have looked over because the amount of Carnages that were coming out under the Hasbro umbrella and stuff. But like I said, he's quite possibly my figure of the year at the moment.
Yeah, and let's not forget they've got that awesome looking blade that comes out next year.
Oh, mate. Yeah, that does look good.
Yeah, looking forward to that bad boy here.
Yeah, that looks like I'm very excited for that. I'm not gonna lie. That's yeah, it's frustrating that they do a different scale because even still, I mean, like their Cobra Kai figures. Let me grab one. Their Cobra Kai figures are a little bit shorter than like their Marvel characters. They're not quite the same scale. They're closer scale to a Marvel Legend. Have a look. Like you can see there, like much more kind of in scale, just a little bit head and shoulders over them. But yeah, I don't know. I just think they're a really cool toy brand, and they've been around for so long. They're very well established.
It's Diamond Distribution, isn't it? Collect DST is Diamond Distribution, so
yeah,
they're not going nowhere. They are the #1 comic supplier of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Who else are we going to talk about? Talk about Diamond for quite a bit there.
Well, have you seen, Big Bad Toy Store?
Yeah.
They're getting, they did the Christmas line a little while ago where they'll get like Santa and that was coming out.
Oh yeah, what happened to that?
So they're coming out this Christmas, but the people that make them are called Fresh Monkey Fiction.
Yeah.
And they have recently just announced something that is very up my street. They've announced Operation Monster Force, which I'm sharing a picture of now. So this is a line that feels very much like a So they've got a Dracula in the line. There's like a mummy figure that feels more like a Moon Knight inspired kind of look to it because he's got like a suit and stuff on. And then they've got a bunch of like different marine looking things. Like they're all very much inspired by monsters and darker side of stuff. But that Dracula, obviously for me as a Dracula collector, I can't wait to get my hands on that.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I believe this line's based on an independent comic book, I believe, from what I've read. So there is like other stuff about it. But yeah, it's just a cool looking line. It's so random.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I must admit, like I was thinking the other day, you know what I really liked when I was younger is there seemed to be toys of everything. Whereas now you don't seem to. Like, did you ever see the Jelly Baby toys?
No.
Right.
Jelly Babies? As in...
I don't know whether this is like a Mandela effect, but I like full on remember as a kid in my local newsagent, they got a. Are you Googling them?
I'm Googling. Oh my God, they exist. That's scary.
Wait. Okay, so I'm not. I didn't make it
You're
up.
not no. You're not hallucinating.
In my local newsagent, when I was about, I don't know, I would say, I don't know, like
7,
double digits maybe.
Oh, right, okay.
They got Jelly Babies in, and they must have been like dirt cheap because I remember like my old man coming back and he had like bought them all, and you had all the different colored Jelly Babies, but then you had like play sets, but the play sets were inflatable. it's bonkers, right? And I don't know why like anyone would want to play with Jelly Baby figures, but we did. But yeah, the play sets were like inflatable. I was like, but I remember them being like really good quality action figures, like for what they were. I don't know, they kind of reminded me of like, I don't know, I don't even know what I'd liken them to at the moment, but but whereas nowadays you just don't kind of get that. You don't get that kind of randomness of lines and stuff. It tends to be kind of, Marvel, DC, and then random things here and there. But to see an independent kind of toy line like do Father Christmas and do monsters and stuff is really cool, really exciting.
Yeah, did you ever see the short cartoon on Disney called Prep and Landing? Where it's about the elves that go in before Santa. So I was sat watching that recently with my daughter because she's like all mad for Christmas right now. And she put Prep and Landing on. And then obviously I remembered Big Bad Toy Store, I've got them weird little elves coming out soon. And I'm there thinking, I've got plenty of like accessories in my boxes from over the years. Like I'm going to build Prep and Landing figures out of those Because they could put some goggles on them and
Yeah,
little
do it.
candy canes in the hands and stuff. That would be awesome.
Do it. So question there, ever thought of getting into Hot Toys or another 1/6 scale figure? I did collect Hot Toys for a little while. It's funny because I went live on TikTok before coming on here just to kind of talk about the show and my collection and stuff. We both do actually do kind of random live streams on there. And one of the questions someone asked me there was, do you collect Hot Toys? And I did have a collection of Hot Toys for a while. But I don't know, it just wasn't for me. I like my toys to feel more like toys, and Hot Toys felt a little bit more like grown-up collectibles. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
they are stunning, do not get me wrong. They are worth every penny that they charge, and it's a lot that they charge for their products. And they are incredible. Like the level of detail, even excuse me, I think the most recent one I got was the Far From Home Spider-Man. I think I actually reviewed it. Hang on. But yeah, the level of detail in that was phenomenal. But it didn't feel like I don't want to say play with it, but I couldn't do as much with it as I would my Marvel Legend, if that makes sense. And yeah, it just I think they look stunning, and I think that if I wiped all my cabinets out and replaced each shelf with a hot toy, that would look equally as kind of nice, and I would be quite happy. But I don't feel I could do as much with them. Hot toys for me are much more that if there was a particular character that I was really, really, really passionate about, that I wanted something to just display as my kind of I love this character, then I would get a hot toy of it. That's kind of how I liken them. What's your thoughts on Hot Toys, sir?
I don't collect them because I've always said like for what we do and what I collect. If I was to collect hot toys, that's one video a month that I could do. Because I enjoy creating the videos on the toys that I get. I like sharing my hobby. And I don't feel like I could really do much with the hot toys, and they'd just be sat in a cabinet, and I'd be like, oh, I daren't move them because they cost me 300 quid. I don't want to snap them or rip them or break them because I'm quite ham-fisted. I'm like a child. I could not have a hot toys. I would break them in minutes. They're just for me. They're just too rich for my blood. Should we say that?
The other thing as well, and I'm pretty sure you're probably the same, is that even though they're sort of collectibles, they're on a shelf and all the rest of it, I still enjoying them with my kids.
Yeah.
So I'll get an action figure and we'll open it up together and we'll have a look at it and we'll kind of change your heads over or the accessories and stuff. And then once that's kind of done, then I'll put them away in my cabinet. Now, there are a couple that, my kids don't go near, for example, but for the majority, I like enjoying. Like my son's massively into Cobra Kai, so when DS sent over those Cobra Kai figures, we went through those and we went through what was really cool about them and what would the next wave could be and who we'd really like and and all those kind of things. So with Hot Toys, I just couldn't do that. I wouldn't be able to do that.
I have a rule: the figures that are on the shelves are not to be touched. Anything that is like a height, like the Power Rangers, and that, a fair game. So, like recently, I got the Turtles pack, which obviously came with an April O'Neil Pink Ranger. But because I already have a Pink Ranger and I didn't really want an April O'Neil Pink Ranger on display, I decided, well, I've already got a Pink Ranger, so I gave her my old Pink Ranger. And then I also had, obviously, I've got the Trini Scorpina 2-pack, but it's the Aisha. So once I've got the Aisha's head, I've already got the original Yellow Ranger. I don't need another one. So basically, I gave her my old Yellow Ranger that's obviously been on the shelf a while, and I put the new one in the cabinet. And now she's got a pink and yellow Ranger, and she's over the moon with it. She's got two female Power Rangers to play with, and she loves that.
Yeah. And the other thing as well is that when if I buy a character and then, so let me take Mojo, for example. I had the Toy Biz Mojo in my collection for years and years. Hasbro released their version of it, so I swapped out my Toy Biz Mojo. Well, that Toy Biz Mojo then goes to my kids. Like, they then have that's theirs. And so with Hot Toys, I couldn't do that. So there's kind of another level to the stuff that I collect, or that we collect, that I would lose with Hot Toys. So I think they're stunning.
Same with when they're. Do you remember when the DC superhero girl stuff came out?
Yeah.
So like they released a line of 6-inch action figures, and I got them because I knew my daughter would play with them instantly. So we got them and we reviewed them together, and then she got to keep the toys afterwards. But she still got them to this day in a drawer, and there's like she loves the fact that when a toy line comes out, she reviews them with me, and then she gets to keep the toy at the end of it. So certain toy lines like I love to do. Obviously, with Hot Toys, you couldn't do that. I like my toys, like you say, to be toys, basically, to be stuff that I would have collected as a kid, or that my kids could get excited about.
Yeah. And as I said, not knocking anybody that collects Hot Toys. I think they're stunning. But for me, I need to have that playability, so that I need to be able to go, you know what, if a box turns up and my kids want to open it with me and go through it all, then we can do that without any real risk. Like when the new What If wave landed, we went through and my son had the Howard the Duck toy for about an hour just playing with it. And I was like, that's the worst one in the wave. Like, don't get carried away with that one. That's like an accessory at best. But absolutely obsessed with it for an hour. Like, and that was it. That was the game, playing with that. So that's why I kind of like my 6-inch figures. And I'll judge the quality of a lot of the figures that I have on the playability. But it's not just me as an old man kind of going, oh yeah, I could make this one. Like, it's the actual playability of a figure. They're toys at the end of the day. Let's be honest. Let's not kid ourselves. We are collecting toys. So, and it's cool. They give us crossovers that we never even thought of. They'll go and grab a figure from one line, and it'll, yeah. So there we go.
That's what I love. That is what I love about my shelves, to be honest. And everyone always says you've got them all mixed up. I'm like, no, that's what I love about it. The fact that in my collection right now I've got Man-Thing stood with Beaker from the Muppets. That amuses the hell out of me. I can just imagine the two Muppets in the lab. And like, what are we doing today? And there's Man-Thing, just stood there, handing them things.
Yeah. You got a new Muppets figure, didn't you? Have you reviewed it yet?
Yeah, I reviewed it. Yeah, I got Sam Eagle and Rizzo the Rat. So it's got Rizzo in it. So one thing is about that, I'm really excited because I've got Gonzo behind me, and I've got a little top hat in my cupboard, and I'm going to put the top hat on Gonzo.
You said that in your video, that they've never done Christmas Carol. Like, how is that? It's like a Christmas classic. How have they not
done it?
I don't know.
Like Tiny Tim, because they've already got the molds for like Kermit, Piggy. They've got all the figures. All they need to do is put new attire on them and give them a little diorama piece or something, like little fireplaces. And that'd be awesome.
I think I've got my Kermit here. See, look, this is the extent of my Diamond Select. I have everything.
So they could do Kermit with the writer's desk in Scrooge's office kind of thing. Yeah. And then I've obviously got Tiny Tim, because they've already made the small Kermit the Frog figure for the tiny. I forgot the name of his son. They've already done that one. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. These are literally 3 characters from Christmas Carol. Like, but that is literally like, how have they not?
Tim and Kermit. Yeah, exactly.
How have they not put them in hats and stuff? Like, I don't get it. But yeah, but
then obviously you could do Treasure Island. They could do all the good Muppet movies. They could recreate.
Yeah, I'm really surprised.
Giving them an idea now.
You know what? It was only in your video when you said, "Oh, there's Rizzo the Rat," because it's getting to Christmas, and they never did it. And I was like, no one ever did. No one ever did. But what it reminds me of here, because these arms are obviously really fiddly, like really fiddly. But the Jack Skeleton from the Nightmare Before Christmas, that's pretty much his leg. Yeah. Like it doesn't stand up independently at all. So they're able to do that, even though the figure's got no kind of.
So my Kermit, because he can't stand, I did the scene from Deadpool where Deadpool sat on the edge of the building and he's like doodling.
Yeah.
So I put him in the same pose on my shelf. So he sat on because obviously it looks funny that Deadpool sat on the edge of the shelf while all the other figures are like in sync, right, all stood. Yeah. He sat on the edge of the shelf, and I sat Kermit next to him with the banjo. So it looks like Kermit and Deadpool are just having a little sing song,
just chilling out.
Chilling out.
I love this.
I couldn't stand that Kermit. I couldn't get him to stand. But he came with the director's chair. But sadly, I had to donate that to Stan Lee. So
that's where mine is. Mine's with Stan Lee. I very almost swapped it over for George Lucas when they released that head sculpt, but then I looked at it and I was like, it's not as good of a figure. But no, I love this little Kermit figure. I don't know why. There's something very wholesome about having a little Kermit the Frog figure. But yeah, I can get him to stand. Can you not get him to stand?
I can, but he just falls all the time. So I just got. I sat him on the edge of my seat.
Oh.
He'll stand for now, but he will fall. Yeah,
I'm trying to stand him on my phone, so that's not going to work very well, is it? There you go.
The knees on mine went loose pretty quick. To be honest.
Okay, fair
so
enough.
mine,
Yeah.
like it's all like bends and then falls. But yeah, I love that little Kermit. He's awesome.
It's a really good figure. It is a really good figure. But Christmas Carol. Let's do it. But yeah. So let's have a think. We talked about brands, we talked about lines, we talked about retailers. Is there anything else that's happened this week that we've kind of missed? We got the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special coming out in 10 days.
10 days, yeah, not long now. There's a lot of stuff. Like a lot of stuff hit Disney. What do you call it? Disney Plus this week, didn't it? Have you had a chance to sit down and watch like the clauses yet?
No, I've not seen it.
Pretty good, you know.
I got that. Disenchanted came out as well.
Disenchanted, yeah.
I haven't watched that yet. I'm really behind on all my television watching, but yeah, a lot of stuff did come out. There was a lot of stuff that did come out.
Have you seen the new DC announcements? We don't talk about DC very often, but
we don't, do we? Let's throw some that way.
I'll start at the beginning because we didn't really talk about this, but they're continuing the Arkham wave, and we're going to get a Riddler from Arkham, which looks awesome. The modern day Riddler looks awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to him. Just something, again, I love the Arkham game, so anytime they're going to release a new Arkham figure, I'm all about that.
Yeah, I'm
so he's pretty cool. Then after him, they announced my favorite Catwoman of all time. I've got this one in the DC Essentials line when that came out. It's the Nightfall Catwoman. So in the purple costume, that is the iconic costume to me. I know a lot of people go for the black and the sort of like black PVC, or they go for the grey. But I remember purple from the comics. So love that look. So I'm so glad they're making that, because McFarlane don't make many female characters.
No,
so
they really don't.
It's nice that we're finally getting that one. Then a couple of figures that you might be able to help me out with. So I'm not overly familiar with these two, but we are getting a Kingdom Come Armored Batman. I've never particularly read that book, so I don't know anything about that.
You know what? I literally had this out on my live stream on TikTok. So just to give you a very, very quick one, the Kingdom Come line is a really good idea, but this is Batman of the future. So basically, he can't go out and be Batman. So he sits in the Batcave and he sends out like robots, and they do like all the Batmaning for him. But then a really very brief overview of Kingdom Come is that old school superheroes have all disbanded. So Superman's on his farm and Batman's in his cave and that kind of stuff. And there's all these new superheroes just kind of wreaking havoc. And then all the old school Justice League kind of come back together to just kind of put them straight. And then this is when Batman kind of builds himself the armor so that he can then walk again properly. I'm pretty sure he can't walk because of the Bane breaking his back incident. I'll have to go back. I haven't read it for about 8 years, but this is him when he comes back and is kind of Batman again, but essentially Batman in a frame.
Nice one. So, yeah, it was one that I was not familiar with. I've never read that book. And then we're getting a new Superboy as well. That got announced today.
That's cool.
Look at that ass.
That's that is a proper butt shot, isn't it?
Yeah. I think they were going for a Captain America thing, man. Like America's ass, that's Superboy's ass.
That's a cool one, though. I don't recognize.
I like his jacket, though. I love the jacket.
I don't recognize the spikes, but then I haven't read any Superboy comics in recent years. So, when I think of Superboy, I think of the T-shirt look like. That's
the black T-shirt with the red. Yeah. So what I was thinking though this week is McFarlane have pretty much kept to traditional DC so far, but let's not forget that their licensing, if their licensing is for all of DC, they also have access to a bunch of characters from Vertigo. So they have access to the Watchmen, they have access to the Wolf Among Us and Fables, and they also have access to V for Vendetta. Do you think McFarlane would ever give us an updated version of the likes of V, Night Owl, Comedian. Imagine all these re-releases in the scale of the McFarlane line.
That would be really. I would definitely be up for seeing reissues of Watchmen. You know what's really ironic? Were you watching my TikTok stream? Because
No.
I literally held up Watchmen and Kingdom Come. They were the two comic books I held up because they're in a box here down underneath my desk. But yeah, Watchmen figures. I missed out on getting those originally, and I was a huge fan of the Watchmen comic book, and all the spin-offs and stuff. But I never got the figures.
I got the, when they did the sequel to Watchmen with the crossover with DC, the release towards the end of the DC collectibles line, they re-released them, didn't they? You got the re-released. You got in figure form, we got Dr. Manhattan and I forgot the bad guy, them two together, and then you also got Comedian, and there was a new character from the new books that they introduced. I think it's called Marionette. But obviously everyone bought it for the Comedian. Everyone wanted a Comedian because you couldn't get the movie version for the love of money without spending a ridiculous amount of money.
No.
But yeah, I was just thinking, man, if they did the DC multiverse line, but then had the DC bit crossed out and had Vertigo written at the side of it, and do like an alternate line for the Vertigo figures,
that'd be pretty cool.
Under the same sort of umbrella, that'd be awesome. Because I mean, who wouldn't buy a V for Vendetta figure? Who wouldn't buy a V? Because it's so hard to get hold of now. Any V action figures, they cost a fortune.
You know what's interesting as well is that mask is so popular now. It's even in toy shops and stuff under like the Ninja brands or whatever it is. I can't remember the name. But
I noticed that. It's like a YouTuber's toy line, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't know how they're getting away with that, because that design is technically that is the Watchman. It's Alan Thingy's artwork. Alan.
Tell you what, look.
His name will come to me.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's odd, but I think that'd be a really good shout to have a. You know what figures I'd like to see as well, and it was McFarlane that did them originally, but visiting the Matrix figures, because they did all those. Do you remember them before? They were much more like statues, and they had like the diorama piece and that. But to go back and almost do like an anniversary plus the new Matrix film, and just give us kind of a wave or two of those Matrix figures. Just that's what I think is missing from a lot of people's collection.
I were really surprised that Diamond Select didn't opt to do the new Matrix figures, because they already had the John Wick figure.
Yeah.
And it would have been an easy win to stick some glasses on that and re-release it as Neo, because he looked like that in the new film, didn't he? He still had the long hair and the sort of beard and scruff and stuff. So I mean,
he looked like that in the SpongeBob film. Like, it's come on, that's
just Keanu Reeves now.
Keanu Reeves look nowadays. No, I'm surprised. I'm surprised we haven't had a reissued kind of updated Matrix line as well. I saw all the Avatar figures when we were in Smith's. They're too small for my liking. They're too small.
They're in scale with, so basically they made the line, and they've made the major and the human figures are like 3/3/4 inch almost. They're like this big. So they've made the avatars obviously like 7 inches to scale with that figure. But obviously, they are like Natiri's on my shelf, and she's a little bit taller than my Marvel Legends, but not by much.
No.
But I was gonna say, if you could get a toy line from any movie, like reissued, what would you pick?
Oh, Starship Troopers.
Yeah, Starship Troopers is a good one.
Hands down.
I was gonna say Roger Rabbit. Like if Diamond Select did Roger Rabbit.
Like in the same scale, same style as their Muppets, kind of.
Yeah. So you could get a Roger, a Jessica,
How many people would buy a Jessica Rabbit figure? Let's be perfectly honest. There'll be so many people that would be like, "Yep, I want that. Thank you. I just want it for my collection." Like, people would want a Jessica Rabbit. Now, I'd go Starship Troopers, just because I think that the mechs and the kind of suits, it would just be cool. And then have to have all the bugs. Like, it would just be a very cool toy line.
I always said do the different Marines from the movies and then have the bugs as Build-A-Figures. That would be the way to do it.
Yeah. I suppose the problem is there's not a huge amount of scope in regards to it's a trooper with a different head, isn't it? Like, it's not.
That surely makes it easier, surely.
Yeah.
How easy would it be to swap out Rico's head for Ace's head? Swap that out for there's like 10 different guys in the film that could just swap their heads out for.
I honestly thought that when Jurassic
I'd buy 'em.
Park first kind of started getting their toy lines, you know, the
Mm.
old like were they Mattel, weren't they back then?
Yeah,
Were they
Mattel.
Mattel?
Yeah, Mattel.
I honestly thought we were going to get like a Starship Troopers kind of subline, so like the same kind
Mm.
of sized figures, basic figures, but then with like the bigger bugs. I really thought it was coming, but to this day we still don't have a Starship Troopers toy properly. So
And I'll just say to all the people that always say Disney won't release certain figures because they're scared of doing something a little bit risque. You go to Disney parks and look at how many statues of Jessica Rabbit they have in those cabinets at Disney, and you tell me they're scared about something being risque.
Yep.
Jessica Rabbit statues are insane.
You know what I'd like as well? A Dick Tracy toy.
Ooh, yeah.
Just kind of spinning off from
Dick Tracy's
Roger
my
Rabbit
line.
there, because it would scale quite nicely with the Roger Rabbit. But to get a Dick Tracy action figure, I'm surprised we've never seen that like in recent years.
Are you ready? Are you ready to get really excited? Or a Diamond Select hook line?
Oh, that would
Imagine
be
getting a
good.
Rufio action figure.
That would be really good. Yeah, that would be really good. Just like 3 or 4 Diamond Select hook. Oh, that would be really good. Yeah. Yeah. See, all these kind of older films, I would like a company like Diamond Select to pick up because, like you say, the John Wicks, the Jack Sparrow, the Crows, like all those kind of things, even the more recent ones like Cobra Kai, they do very well with it. And I think that it would be,
It's like sometimes they'll pick up a line like The Crow, and they've only really made 2 or 3 things from it, but they've done it and then moved on. So I mean, like Hook, they could easily just give you Rufio Hook and maybe I don't know, so like Smee or you know what I mean. They could give you a couple of figures and then they'll just move on to the next one. You know what I mean? They
you'd
won't
have to
stay
get
on that line
Pam.
for years.
You'd have to get Pam, wouldn't you? Like a Robin
Robin
Williams
Williams
Pam.
Pam.
That'd be cool. But yeah. Oh, well, on that note, on that major wish list, I think we're about done for this week. Next week, I think Ryan's back with us next week. But yeah, we just tried to opt for something a little bit different because there wasn't a huge amount of news out this week. So hope that you guys have been watching, found it interesting. Obviously, thanks for the comments. We didn't actually go through all of the comments because they were popping up and stuff, but we tried to deal with some of them. But that's about it. Obviously, check out geekweekinreview.co.uk for all of the links and the socials. If anyone's listening on the podcast, please continue doing what you're doing. Much appreciated. Anything you want to add, Sorrel?
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Anything that anyone should look out for on your channel this week?
A ridiculous amount of Diamond Select reviews because obviously we got sent the box. So everything you've seen on Jacob's channel this week, redone on mine.
No, we got different stuff. We did get different stuff.
I've obviously got the Cobra Kai stuff, Titanium Man, and a bunch of Muppets. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into those.
Nice. And we didn't even touch on Joy Toy. We're gonna have to.
Have you done any reviews of the Joy Toys yet?
Not yet.
Warhols.
They're literally there. They're kind of like next on my line. I'm getting through everything. But
did you get one of the level 9 figures? Did you get level 9 or some like a So like the level 9 figures. I'm not sure if you saw my review. They are amazing. They're fully like cloth clothing on them and everything. They're like next level. They're amazing.
Absolutely stunning.
I was so amazed with it.
So keep an eye on the channels for various different bits and pieces. Until next week, same as always. We appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by. Keep it geek.